My name's Ken Cox. Live in Mesquite, Texas. I'm a hotshot truck driver. Well, it's a dysfunctional family. Actually, my mother, you couldn't ask for a better mom, and I had a sister, and of course she would try to take us to church on Sundays, but as far as my father being a part of, he was a successful contractor, but he worked all the time, so he never was like a part of and involved in, with us growing up and such. He felt like he just worked hard and save your money for your family, but which he provided everything. We had new homes and new cars, and he had electricians and such underneath him, but he never was a part of the Saturday taking me to the airplane shows or being involved as enjoying like a son. It was more or less, we're gonna mow the yard today, and he was from how he was raised, so. My best friend in high school in '73, his father was involved with some people in Dallas, Jack Ruby, and the lawyer was Bill Alexander. His name was Jim Erkenbrack, and they was associated with the Dixie Mafia back in the '70s. And me and my buddy stole 200 pounds, in which we got busted. We didn't know what to do. Well, what do you do with 200 pounds? Two kids that are 18 years old, and we got busted at the Lamplighter. With 200 pounds, they were selling for $70 a pound. You thought, oh, I'll never be broke, That's $14,000, and at that time, you could buy a new Cadillac for $5,000 or $6,000. So, didn't think about that. Or we wouldn't have just took it out of one garage, rent a van, put it in the van, and go to the motel, and then get busted as soon as we check into a room and smell like weed, and got weed hanging all out of the rent truck. It's crazy. Of course, when you get busted with that amount of weed in the '70s, it hit the papers, and of course they made our bond. If you want to be with the big boys, you're going to be a part of us, and just like made us feel like we was accomplished something, and then that they was leading us down the wrong path. But we thought it was, or I thought it was about something, and patent leather shoes and the pinky rings, and I thought there would just be no end. And so that just escalated into running, doing different whatever I was told to do. And that's all. At 17, 18 years old, you don't have any kind of a direction, or you go to wherever you hear the loudest voice, or you see the things, that you want to have, and because they have it, you think that this is how you need to go, not knowing that the end result is death or life in prison. We went into the club business in the '80s, and so
how'd you get started?
Well, I was the only one that wasn't a convicted felon, of course, and so all the club license and such was in my name. And we, at that time, $1 Million Saloon was the hottest thing going in the '80s, and we had Bearfax over on Harry Hines, Crazy Girls on Northwest Highway. Then we had Fantasia off of Greenville and Shady Brook, but right behind the $1 Million. So if our dancers were the ones that had the tattoos that showed, and $1 Million had the ones that they could cover up with makeup or whatever. So we had their overflow of the less of, the last of the pickings. Then our night manager stole $3,500, and had another manager for the club come over, and we went down and confronted him, and he said he didn't do it, and I had him pop him in the mouth, broke his jaw, and then he came out and he shot him 5 times, and my other partner got a life sentence, got busted. And I got a conspiracy case, and then again a lawyer got the case dismissed, and eventually, I convicted him and appealed it, made a bond while I was on appeal, and then he got it overturned and dismissed. So, all that led is just, I got out of the club business and actually get run out of that business after the Greeks moved. I opened up a big car lot at Central Expressway, Lover's Lane and Central, and eventually my picture was over Gorbachev at that time in '88 in Dallas Morning News, and they got me for handguns across from New York. The Jamaicans had moved into Dallas, and they'd run south Dallas, the big crack cookies, and it was just the cars I had leased. I would take cars on consignment from other people called third-party leasing, and the cars would be in other people's name. They couldn't afford the payments anymore because rates were 10% in the 80s, and so they bring the cars to me on consignment, and I'd put Jamaicans in them and dancers, and all the people I was associated with through the club business were now moved over into my cars, and then they would get busted and shot up and returned and bullet holes. The customer wanted to know where the cars was, and I sold it without paying them, and then I accumulated a few theft over 20,000 cases, motorhomes and boats, and I ended up hiring the biggest lawyer at that time, Doug Molnar, and he ended up, I had confrontation with my partner there, and both of us had pistols, and there was a shooting, and he ended up a paraplegic, and I ended up in prison for 5 years. Some things I regret, but I know that the Lord had his hands on me and have a reason for my life. And today, I can say that I can take them boys that their father followed, and that I followed, and now I can try to use my past to help them, not to go down the path that I went to, that I slow down long enough to listen to them and be their godfather and in a good way, and bring them to my church and introduce them to my pastors. My pastors go down to see their dads, and it's just a good thing to know that that the Lord had his hand on your back before you knew anything about him, walking and talking with you and being there for you when you really need something, that that'll be there to, what can man do to you that he didn't make a way for me. And through that, when I got into the state, and then I got out and got caught back up in and went to state jail for a year. Everybody finds God in prison. Everybody wants, or either you just got to be a damn fool, to know that you've got to change your lifestyle and your ways, or you're going to spend the rest of your life here. And so that's when I met Sam Belinsky from Covenant Church, and while I was in prison, and got out and went to Covenant, met Mike Hayes, and went into the roofing business, and then we had that storm, and got all the roofs and doing well, and just been struggling. And then I got caught back up, and I go back for 18 months, and then when I got moved to Mesquite, and then found out through Sam that Free Life was here, and through Pastor Richie, my life's just never been the same. I'll never look back. We all have different bottoms, and I don't know that I ever hit my bottom until I found out that I found out I was losing. I've already lost my freedom. I got out, I played, and I still thought that I could straddle the fence. The pastor had a message. The World Sucks was the name of the message, and on that line, the world will suck you over and get you caught back up before you even realize what was going on, even if it's for one evening. I've caught myself being in the local game rooms and such, and until you hit a bottom and say, hey, I'm really, and I still struggle. This is the deal, I still struggle. I had to meet the pastor a month ago on a Saturday and say, look, last night I got a call. That's why I changed my number recently. You just get caught up, and until you just say, Lord, just help me recognize the signs and to see, to know that this isn't about, if it's not about the Lord, then when you don't need to be there. You just can't step in and step out because you can't. You get caught up, and until you decide to turn your life around and say, hey, I'm through with this, and then when I found out that I had a terminal illness, and that God provided a way to the doctors, that you just take 3 pills and make sure you eat right and you exercise and not be drinking and keep your liver. You can't do anything without God and a family and people you can depend on instead of drug dealers and gangsters in my phone. Now I've got pastors. I can call and I have a problem. My partner in the trucking business, he is one of the strongest men that's ever been that influenced my life, and I can call him and I have problems still today. Going 30, I go to an outpatient program over in Homeward Bound, and I have a problem going down 30, passing Dolphin Road and through there and Samuels Boulevard, where I have a lot of my ex lifestyle is all through there, and I have to call and tell them here I come, I'm on my way, and let them know I'm headed that way, So man, when you hook up with a good church and a good pastor and people that you can relate with and call on and get involved with, to know that no matter what you've been involved in or what you was or what you represented or being a living legend in that era or in that lifestyle, that God can do all things. He can do anything. He can take you out. He can give you the strength that you need. I still struggle. I don't have the desire, but the temptation's there, and I can overcome the temptation in the mood swing type thing. When I know that if I've earned $1,500, that I've earned that by the mile, I've earned that pressure washing, that I've earned that money. It's not free money. It's not devil money. It's not things I've swindled somebody out of or fast made a move on. It's things that God provided away, and He will. And you just have to recognize where your strength comes from and stay strong, do for others, and God will bless you. Just be there for others and show them what not to get involved in, and that's what I try to do. But, you can't describe the peace that you have when you don't have any cases pending. When you don't owe an attorney $25,000, when you don't have your, this, that, and the other, the peace that you have today, knowing that I'm going to be here next month, or that what I do, I know that's what I should be doing. Yeah.